Hi, I'm Maddie for Tone Deaf TV, and I am here with Liam and Scott from Cancer Bats.
Hey! Thanks for having us in your sweaty tent.
Thank you for being sweaty in our sweaty tent. We appreciate it.
It is really easy.
It's definitely getting worse as the day goes on.
It's getting warmer as the
sadly.
day goes by. I think it's because of Slayer. I would blame Slayer for turning up the heat.
They brought hellfire.
It's burning it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw the earth split in some parts, so just be careful where you walk. So you guys, you've toured with like Billy Talent before and all that,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
is it good getting the gang back together?
It's funny, it's actually for as many friends as we have on the tour, I haven't really run into as many people. Like today was my first day seeing Billy Talent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's like, we're like over halfway through the tour, you know? But it's like different schedules, everybody's flying in and out and like playing Soundwaves in different towns, so that kind of like ends up meaning, you know, you won't see as many people. But on the other side, I've like made some new friends, like hung out with some new bands, so that side of things is really cool.
Yeah. So have you caught any new bands that have that you've enjoyed?
Oh Brother
Yeah, definitely
is a
Oh
band
Brother.
that we've all been super stoked on. They open up the stage right before us, so it's just cool seeing something that, you know, we wouldn't normally come across unless like at this festival. It's like cool, like stoner, shoegaze, like kind of stuff, but it's awesome. They kill it.
Now, I was reading a little bit about you guys and, you know, coming up with your name and all of that. Now, I read that you wanted to have an illness and an animal.
Yeah.
If you weren't Cancer Bats, which illnesses and which animals were you throwing around?
It was a toss up between that and Pneumonia Hawk. Were like the two that I was like
Yeah.
narrowing it down to.
But we kept Pneumonia Hawk as a song title.
Yeah, I definitely ended up still using it. But I was like, no one can spell pneumonia, so that would have been tougher. And I was like, Cancer Bats is easier.
You guys did an album called Hail Destroyer, obviously, you know that. Now, you got the cover of Kerrang, you got a 5K review for the album, which is the highest possible review, and you got a 5K review for your tour.
Oh yeah.
Is that just, how do you top that?
I mean, you just gotta try your best. We definitely like have just been stuck at 4Ks since then. So
Yeah, I
who
guess we
knows?
haven't topped it
Yeah,
yet.
pretty much. I think you just gotta catch them on the right day.
Yeah.
There's only 5Ks. We've got some 5Ks for live shows since then.
They gave us 10Ks when our set got canceled at Download last
Yeah,
year.
we got 10Ks for download, so that was dope.
How do you get 10Ks through a cancelled set?
It was because we still played with Billy Talent, and then we played our own set later. And I think because I did an Axe Wound set, they were just like, you guys get 10Ks.
So you guys have done Download in the UK, you've done Reading, you've done Leeds. How does Soundwave measure up?
It's definitely up there with like huge
Yeah.
European festivals. Like I would compare this to Hellfest or, you know, like Grows Rock in terms of like being those big heavy hitters where like people, you know, obviously flock to these kind of festivals. Like I met, you know, some kids from Spain that have come over for this festival. Like there's people that have come from New Zealand, which isn't that far, not as far as Spain, but lots of people from Japan. Like stuff like that is definitely, you know you're doing something right when you have people traveling across the world to come see it.
I think because like Soundwave is a traveling festival, the hangout vibe between all the bands is a lot stronger. You know, whereas like Download or something, it's like usually play the one day and you leave and you don't see the other bands on the other couple days. Whereas we're seeing all the same bands and we're making new friends and hanging out in the catering tent or whatever, you know. Yeah, it's fun.
So it is obviously a big touring festival, and you do get a couple of days off. Do you guys try and get out and party and see the local sites, so to speak?
Yeah, definitely try and like check out as much as we can. We've been lucky though, like the press that we've done has also like taken us to places. So it's like come to this skate park or like go to this beach and like stuff like that. But yeah, definitely walking around Sydney, like hanging out. Melbourne, we unfortunately don't have a ton of time. Like the Reverence Hotel where we played yesterday was outside of the city, and today we're at the festival, and then we leave tomorrow morning. So we don't really get to hang out that much.
That's a shame. We've got some good skate parks, and
Yeah, I drove by one on the way here, which I was like kind of bummed we wouldn't get a chance to go check out.
yeah, there's Riverside, which is really, really good, and there's some good spots sort of in the city. You generally get chased out by security or the police, but
Like all major cities.
Brisbane was the one cool one because the festival's actually in the city center. So I was able to like go check out like some guitar shops and like walk around the town during the festival when I had some downtime. It was cool like that, yeah.
So is this like a party festival? Is there like a party vibe, or is everyone more chilled out and relaxed?
Definitely daytime partying. I feel like the nighttime, everybody's like jet lagged or been drinking all day, so it's like in bed by like midnight is like pretty across the board. Although last night, as people are like kind of getting used to the time change, like I was in the lobby at 3 a.m. and everyone was still coming home, and I was like, oh, okay. So like people are getting used to like the Australian times to like stretch out the party.
Now, you guys put out an album last year, Dead Set on Living, and it was said that you wanted to move away from sort of a hardcore sound to embrace like almost more like indie, like I think Fleet Foxes were a big, like it was from them.
It wasn't to like move away from hardcore at all, but more to like just, you know, take inspiration from other bands. Like for myself as like a songwriter, I definitely like don't want to just write the same record over and over again, or like in terms of writing what everybody else is. So for me, just as like a music fan, like listening to other bands and seeing how other songwriters approach like, you know, their own band, like a band like Fleet Foxes like is something totally different from, you know, like a metal band. So instead of just listening to Pantera and like kind of falling into that same vocal pattern, it's like, oh, I'll try some different ideas. That was kind of more where I was coming from with that reference.
Yeah, it was a little bit weirded out.
We're not like stealing Fleet Foxes like guitar riffs or something like that.
Well, we do look at a lot of like their song structures and stuff like that, because I think a lot of the, you know, same like songwriting principles apply. Like when it comes to writing a good song, you know, you can still use a cool idea, and especially with a lot of like folk and like stuff like that, where they're able to make a song sound really heavy even though they're using like acoustic guitars, and it's more because of like space that they have in between like all of those parts. So it's kind of like, if we apply those ideas to amplified guitars, it's just going to sound that much heavier. So
when you guys finish up with Soundwave, do you get to spend a few days in Australia, or are you straight off?
Right away. We've got to keep touring, so.
Where are you off to next?
We head to the UK right after this, and then do a headline tour there.
That's going to be a big change. It's snowing over there and blizzarding.
Yeah, it's kind of a big change. I mean, we came from a huge blizzard in Canada when we flew over, so it's not really, unless we were in the southern hemisphere for the remainder. But I mean, the shows are going to be awesome, so it's one of those things. Just bring a jacket.
Bring a very, very heavy coat. All right, dudes, thanks so much for chatting with us this afternoon.
Thanks for having us.
I hope that you get out of this sweaty tent.
No,
all right.
This is our last interview, so we're going to go back to watching bands.
Have some fun, have some beers.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Yay.